already suspectful.
This episode is sponsored by Warehouse 301. You live in the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and have events, or always wanted to have an event, just didn't have a spot? Or maybe you have events, you have a spot, but aren't making as much as you can off of your event because of what you're spending on your spot? Check out Warehouse 301. It's a beautiful, big, open, 2,100 square foot space that has everything that you need, from your multicolored string lights to your multicolored floor lights, to your chairs, your padded chairs, right? The padded makes a difference. To your 60-inch round tables, to your 30-inch high cocktail tables, to your projectors, to your stage, to your 360 photo booth, to your garlands, to your linens, everything that you need. Your one-stop shop for an event spot. Warehouse 301. Go to www.warehousedmv.com and let them know I sent you. They're professional. They are reliable to make your event beautiful and ultimately your pockets more profitable. Warehouse 301. Welcome to another episode of You Already Successful. You, yes, you, right now. I am your host, Roland Walker. I am excited about our special guest today. I ran into this brother's videos online about money management made easy, right? And he's found a way to fit a whole financial course inside of his reels. Every reel is real, right? And completely broken down in a way that makes it achievable by anyone, right? No matter where you are financially, which is all about realizing where you are, right? And just getting started from there and moving forward. So that embodies the theme of this show. I had to get him on. I reached out and he reached back. He's also a former D1 football athlete turned money coach, hint, hint, and a personal finance content creator based out of Delaware. He is the creator of the Money Mindset University, an online financial education and coaching platform. And he has over 500,000 followers and supporters across all of his platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Vince Hollerman, a.k.a. Money Coach Vince. Welcome to the show, bro. Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to spread this knowledge, man, like I always do. Like you said, on my videos, man, it's like a course. And all my videos, I try to do that. But, I really want to help people and help them, like, take action on the information. I see a lot of information out here that's just out here and, people just listen to it and don't do anything. My focus is just having people execute on that. So thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, for sure. For sure. Excited about today. I'm not gonna lie, I watched one of your reels recently and it kind of hit me in my mouth. It was it was about the blow it and make it back mentality. I don't necessarily blow money necessarily. Those that know me, I'm a little bit frugal, but it was a part about slow, it might slow you down. Your spending habits might slow you down. And that was real. It had me thinking about all my recent purchases. Like, yeah, I could have justified it, and I did justify it in my mind, which led to the purchase. But it took away from something that I could have used it for. So it didn't mean I don't have things in place, but it slowed my overall growth down. But again, all your reels, there's something valuable in there. But want to talk a little bit about you as a person, right? Less as a money coach. I know a lot of people know you as a money coach, and all of the value that you bring to the social media, but and in person and into people's lives. But like, who is Vince Hollerman, the person, apart from the money coach?
Yeah, man. As far as me, man, I'm a believer. First off, believing in God. He's the reason for everything, for the success, for everything. So I attribute a lot of that to having faith and believing in him and just being diligent and being obedient, just listening. That's number one. I'm a man that's full of integrity. So, I'm big on just like morals and, respect and, being a leader and and ambition, and using those ambitions to fuel the things that you want to accomplish in life. I'm big on helping people. That's me. So and I'm a patient person. As much as I am ambitious, I'm very patient too. So that that kind of speaks to like my message when it comes to money and money management, as well as like other areas in my life as well too. But yeah, that's me. I'm originally from Georgia, so a lot of people may not know that. I'm from the South, dirty South, I like to say. Born and raised there, grew up, was there for majority of my life, and really, grew up single parent household. My mom, 3 brothers, for majority of my life as well. But learned a lot. Like really grew up in that environment, in that space. I had to learn a lot of things quickly. Being the oldest, and being through situations where I had to really be the man of the house really early on, and that kind of transformed like my mindset and how I thought about things, and just having to get things done and make things happen. So ultimately, like I believe that would kind of change my mindset. In high school, as I said, I'm a D1 athlete. So one of the first things, or one of the first like major goals in my life, or that I remember just being like that foundational piece, was telling my mom that I was gonna get a full ride scholarship, take that payment, the loans, like the student loans, and having to pay for college, offer her back, and really just focusing on doing that and accomplishing that feat. And I think that was like one of the first things that really taught me, like, okay, when you put your mind to something, you can do it. Because ultimately, I did get that scholarship. I did get a full ride. I was able to attend University of Delaware full time, and all that foundation right there led to like everything else, going forward, like some of the stuff that you see here. But yeah, I was a 4-year starter at Delaware, which was awesome, coming in as a freshman and playing D1 football. It was a blessing for sure. Learned a lot in college, had greatest time of my life in college, as you can imagine. And I graduated from there with a business and economics degree. So, I already had like the finance background, business background. I was thinking about that. Started with engineering though. Couldn't quite get the schedule right with engineering, with football, but I had to pivot, as we all do in life. We had to make changes and stuff. I pivoted to the business and economics side. So from there, I think I had a goal of reaching the NFL. That didn't quite go as planned, so I had to try with the Eagles and stuff. I almost made the team, but ultimately didn't. But from there, I really had to shift again and pivot, like, okay, what am I going to do now? How am I going to make money? What am I going to do? So from there, after that didn't work out, the football didn't work out, I started working with Morgan Stanley. That's where I started working with like financial advisors and helping them with clients. And I was seeing the amounts of money that these clients had. And that's another like foundational piece that really started shifting my mindset too. I'm like, it's really people out, because when you hear about people making all this money and having all this money, it's kind of like, okay, you hear it, but is it really real? And then, I was in a position where I could see these accounts, 25 million, 100 million, 1 million, like all these different millions of dollars in these accounts. And I'm like, this is the most money I ever seen. And it's really people out here with this type of money. So that right there is another thing that kind of shifted my mindset and built up the foundation from a mindset perspective. And so I immediately was like, dang, how can I, be involved? How can I get in this? So right after college, probably like a year, 2 years after, I took tests to become financially licensed, investments and insurance licensed. And, got to the point where I was helping people sitting down in their homes, and helped invest over close to $250,000 while I was licensed, and, helping people get insurance and all that stuff. And, I got to the point where I wanted to have my own firm and, have my own agency and build other financial advisors and stuff like that. And that ultimately didn't work out. So that's another area where I kind of like, I built up, I had some success, it was good. And then it kind of just, stalled out. And I ultimately had to pivot to doing basically what I'm doing now. But one of the things that I realized while helping people put those things in place, as far as investments and insurance, was that a lot of us, or a lot of people, didn't have the money management in place, right? So a lot of us want to build wealth, a lot of us want to do these different things, but we don't necessarily know how to manage what we have currently in order to build those things. And that was one of the things that I realized, just from helping people. And so it was one of the things that I really wanted to pinpoint on. I knew it was like, okay, there's a market out here because there's a lot of people. It seemed like everybody that I sit with don't know really what's going on financially. How can I get this message out? So, that's what led me to do what I'm doing today. And a little bit of background about where my experiences and, the things that I've been through and what I've taught and what I've learned has been put in position to, to my message today. So, once I realized that, I really just started taking all the stuff that I knew and just started putting it online, just started teaching people. And then, at first it was just, 1 or 2 likes of posts, a couple of shares here, there. And then eventually, just from staying at it, stuff just blew up around like 2020.
What I've taken from and summarized from learning more about you was that, God equipped you before you had the license, right? I think what you were saying is, you grew up it sounds like a similar story to mine. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and my dad was around, but, my mom was the leader in the house. So it was some challenging upbringing. But with the challenges, right, we have a decision, right? We could make decisions just to be limited by those challenges, or we can decide out. And you decided out of it, and it took you being the oldest and figuring some stuff, because I'm sure there's some stuff that you had to help happen too, and learning from multiplying what you do have with what you have, right? And now that's kind of what you've amplified at another stage. But that led you to the college, to D1, right? To the free version of it, right? Because then there's money out there, and some of us may decide to go in and just grab the loan, but then there's another way to accomplish that same goal, which then led you to something else that started off promising, that didn't necessarily work out, that helped pave the way to where you are here. So more challenges along the way, and I think sometimes people hear or might see the public figure of Vince the money coach,
right,
and might just think it's sweet. But in actuality, right, the challenges are part of our story that help get us to that level of success. Realize that if you don't have any money, right, and you're making it through now, like in this day and age, you're successful, right? Because you're making it do some tough challenges and situations, and you should use that motivation to take the next step, whatever the next step is, and whatever it looks like on your level. But when you do have some money coming in, again, we're going to dive into some of those helpful tools that you'll help provide us to steer us on the right path. But just great hearing your story, man, and getting to know you in that way, versus just jumping into the helpful stuff. I think people identifying with the person is important, right? Because then it's not somebody just talking at me or telling me some stuff that sounds good. It's somebody that can identify with me. And that way it feels completely different. That's a moving background that leads you up to here now. So jump into the next question. So in your opinion, what stops most of us from managing money, like, or getting focused and more intentional with our money?
I think so. That's a great question too. For a lot of people, not only is it just a lack of knowledge, because this stuff is not taught in school. It's not stuff that's openly talked about, but it's not stuff that we even introduce in the household a lot of times growing up. So that limits us right there. And then the last part is just really just the mindset, and again that comes from the your how you grew up, how you was raised, especially, in how I grew up, nobody talked about money. It was taboo. You didn't ask how much you made and how much did this cost, all that. You couldn't check nobody's pockets. You couldn't ask about none of that. Right. So, that I don't want to say trauma, because that's like a buzzword right now, but that reality kind of forces us into that shell whenever it comes to money. It's like a learned behavior, just like anything. If you grew up not talking about it, or you grew up getting looked at, getting side-eyed, getting checked for asking how much that costs, or just talking about money, period, then of course growing up you're gonna have a problem with it, just subconsciously. That's just how it happens. So majority of it just stems from the mindset, man, and it's just that belief that you can and you will do, what's possible with the money that you already earn, with the money that you make. I think a lot of us, because of that subconscious mindset of, money is evil or money is bad, that, we try to do everything in our power to not to avoid it, or to not think about it. And so as a result, that leads to us never getting to the point where we just can become aware, number one, of exactly what's going on financially. So I think that's the biggest issue, or the biggest roadblock, when it comes to people being able to manage their money and get right. Just focus on the money aspect, because it's important. You don't focus on it, it's going to be hard for you to make the moves that you want to make. And a lot of people feel like, I'm stuck and I can't do this, and I'm not able to progress, and I feel like I'm just not going anywhere. The reason is, you don't have the foundation right. You don't have your money in order. You don't have the systems in place to really, progress and show that you're progressing. So awareness is key. We got to create that awareness. How we do that, we got to remove those mental blocks when it comes to our money.
Yeah, man, that resonates a lot. And I agree. I think, like you said, it could be all summarized as the mindset, right? Yeah. Because whether it seems complicated or complex, right? And sometimes, depending on what the topic or what the specific thing is, it could be a little bit of unknown to it, and it is a little bit complicated. And that's why, like, I appreciate your reels and your videos with breaking down the steps. Like, something that blew my mind that we'll probably talk about a little bit later is the IRA, right? You always hear, max out your IRA, put money in the account, but then, like, if you don't know that you have to invest it, depending on the type of account you have, then it just sits in the account like a bank account. But you always hear somebody say, like, max out your IRA, but it's like, okay, I'm thinking I'm putting it in there, and this is actually what happened to me. It's going there automatically. I'm maxing it out, and it's sitting there. So it's not really doing anything. But then there's another type of account where that could do the work for you to further automate that process. So some of it there is some complexity to it. But the mindset just to get started is an important one. And to view it as what it is, right? I think I heard you say also something about, like, it's not a restriction, because a lot of times we feel like, nah, I'm making the money, it's my money, so I'm gonna spend it how I want.
Right.
And I really like the twist you put on it, is like, it's not a restriction, it's justification to spend your money, not a restriction not to spend it, which connects to awareness that you talked about. You're more aware of knowing, and when I start becoming more aware of my money, how much is coming in, how much is going out first, right? Because if you have more going out than coming in, then there's a problem, right? If you have some
Yeah.
savings, your savings is going to be gone, right? Even if you're a dollar more than what you have coming in versus what you have going out, then you're at least, you're a bit stable, and then you can kind of make some corrections. But it was easier making those corrections and choosing when you are aware, like you said. If I'm spending $200 on coffee a month, and I'd rather see that go into my savings that may not have anything going. So then that awareness will lead to that, and then it's easier to turn down coffee. Or like we did in my house is we bought, my wife likes Starbucks coffee, so we got the Starbucks, like the 75 packs from from BJ's, and just the one time payment for the machine, and then there we go. We got Starbucks coffee, and we compromised, but now we could save like $150 or so dollars.
And that goes a long way.
Yeah,
like stuff like, it's just simple awareness, just understanding, dang, like that's how much I spent. There got to be another way where I can save a little bit of money. In your case, $150 a month. That's pretty. A lot of people could use $150 a month.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So being able to just be aware and understand, okay, there may be a smarter way for me to get the same result. I like coffee. There's a smarter way for me to do that, that can save me some coins and, help me just basically reallocate my money. $200, $250 a month is going here. How can I shift that, be smarter with my money so that, $150 that I was spending over here can now be allocated to another place. So that's what it all boils down to, that awareness. That's why that's the number one step for sure.
And those hacks, like you said, with that awareness, there's some hacks. Like one of the ones that I realized is like, and shout out to my mentors. One of my mentors told me earlier on was just like review your budget like yearly too, because then there are some of those companies that you can negotiate with, like your cable, like your phone. So if you find $75 from some renegotiations, then like you said, you can allocate that to something else that might need some attention. And then it's just, for me, it just is easier to say no when you know what you're saying no to and why you're saying no for it. And that helped inside of my house again with those conversations, because it's different. It was like, no, we're not going to Starbucks anymore. Right. But it's like, no, we're not going to Starbucks anymore because we're going to save X amount. And now the girls might have, which my wife really wants to get them back into gymnastics, really likes to travel and take a vacation. We could put that into the vacation budget, and all of a sudden we're aligned, and we're not just saying no for no reason. We know why we're saying no, because we're saying yes to something that we really want, not just something that we didn't realize that we were spending.
Exactly. Yeah, that's big too. I think in the beginning, one of the things that I think a lot of us have to realize is that it's okay to be selfish, and say no to certain things. Once you understand and once you become aware, okay, these are the things that I want to accomplish. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do more of. Like in your case with the kids, want to put them in the, more extracurricular activities, and you want to travel more. Well, in order to do that, I can look at my budget and just be aware and say, okay, no to these things, or no to, the extra stuff that you get asked on a daily basis or weekly basis from friends and family and all that type of stuff, to then be able to say, okay, that's where I'm saying no. Like you said, this is where I'm saying no at. This is where I'm saying yes, and like you said, that just overall makes you more happy because now you're in control. When before the money is in control, because you don't have any control, you don't have no awareness, and that's what that leads to, that value life, living life based on your values and what's important. So
I gotta drop
key.
a bomb. Yeah, I gotta drop that bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, because a lot of times we think like, oh no, it's my money. We feel restricted, so don't tell me, or I plan but we're saying that without actually planning and knowing what's going on. So by default, our money is in control, like you just said.
Yeah.
So we don't want to release, but really if we don't know what's going on or what's coming in, what's going out, then the money itself is actually in control. And we want to get to an end goal And we can't get there because the money is actually in control. We don't know. That's deep that you just
Yes,
touched
sir.
on. Because I think we all want to be successful, and we all think just like more money is going to solve it. But there's something else that you said before, like money
Nah,
isn't the solution.
nah,
It's a it's a
money is a tool, not the
tool.
solution.
I got it.
Money is a tool, not the solution, right? More money not going to solve your problems, especially if you don't have that awareness, you don't have that control. It's just going to bury them deeper. You know what I mean? Bury your
Yeah.
problems deeper. Like, yeah, you'll be able to solve some problems, you know what I mean? Some money problems. But at the end of the day, if you don't know how to manage money, if it's hard for you to control your money, when you make more, it's going to be the same result, right? It's people, I think a lot of us think once we hit six figures, oh, we good, we set, we in there, right? But it's the same story. Once you hit six figures, 66% of people, 60% of people, I think, or more, still living check to check. That's, making six figures or more. So that goes to show you right there. It's not about how much you make, but how you manage it. So we got to go from thinking that money is the solution and the solver and what's going to help us with all our problems to now, okay, how can I manage it? How can I use money as a tool to really get what I want, help me achieve the goals that I want to achieve? And that just helps you, all around the board. You know what I mean? Changing and shifting your mindset from the solution to it being a tool, a resource to help you get there.
Mm. Yeah, that's powerful, man. Yeah, man, that's deep. Because if again, if we're not careful, you make more money, like the debt to income, right? You make
Mhm.
more money, but if your spending is out of control and you don't know how much you're spending, are you really making more money, right?
Nope.
Like you said, some you could be ball players, and you got people making these $1 million contracts and having these multi-million-dollar contracts, and then they end up broke, and you're like, how? And I think there's a stat, I forget the percentage amount, but like the amount of people that win lotto end up like bankrupt because
Yeah,
it's like that
it's a
lack of
large number
awareness.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a large number. I think it's like 70 something percent,
crazy.
72, something like that. I just looked at that too. I just forgot the percentage myself, but it's something around like that 70% range for sure.
And what you just touched on is the how. It's the lack of
Hmm.
awareness, or the not, you're not in control. The money is in control, right? So then it's like, yeah, you made some money and that increased, but if you don't know how much is going out, and in fact, those small cuts actually could hurt, because I'm big on, like, if it costs some money, even if it's a little expensive, if it's a one-time thing, I'm more so lean in that direction. If it's like,
Right.
uh, you know, $5 at Target here, or $20 here and there, right? Or a subscription, then it's like you're cutting, but you're not putting a band-aid on it, so it's still bleeding and dripping, and then that stuff adds up. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
That
it's like new money, same habits. You
mm,
know what I mean? New money, same habits. It's not gonna
yeah.
work. It's never gonna work that way.
Unless those
So
habits are sound.
it's that.
And
Yes.
that's what we're about to get into. You're gonna teach us some.
Yes.
That's a perfect segue into the next group, where we're gonna dive into some of these tools that could help us get our finances together. Because if you have the principles and the stuff, the core stuff in place, then you're gonna be positioned for when more money comes.
For sure.
Cool. Talk to us about the three core principles of money.
Yeah. So when it comes to money, how I break it down is 10% math, 10% skill, and then 80% behavior. So I think a lot of people, one of the first things that stops us, along with the mindset, is just that thought that, oh, I hate math, I hate numbers, I'm not good with math, right? It's funny to me that we say that, but whenever the check is missing by $10, $100, we know exactly when that happens, right? As it's not an issue then. So
Right.
we know how to do math, we know how to deal with money, but we're selective with it. And again, that goes back to the trauma of how we was brought up, how we was raised, to not really be not really talk about money that much. So we associate the money side as something different when it's really not. So it's only 10% math, y'all. It's not overwhelming, because the behaviors make up majority of like of your money, right? It's the habits and the behaviors that you create for yourself, or the habits that you develop for yourself, that's really going to lead to the money. And then the skill part. So I know a lot of people associate like being able to make money as being a skill, which it is, right? It definitely is a skill, being able to make money and increase your income, and then find ways to like just add more value to your life. And that's very key, right? That's why it's such a core principle of money, having that skill and being able to increase your income and make more money on that end. But like we just talked about, your ability to make more money doesn't make up for the habits, doesn't make up for who you are internally. So we can't associate a core principle of it, more than 10%, because that skill is just one facet, like one small part of it. Because in order for you to really grow those things, grow those other aspects, right? On the math side, just being able to save a certain amount of money or put a certain percentage away every single month. On the skill side, being able to scale a business, or increase your income with a skill, or learn a new skill to where you're able to make more money, like a side hustle or something like that. The way to really optimize or make those other two core principles more efficient is with the behaviors. And that's the other 80%. So if you're able to control your behaviors and create habits long term, foundationally, when it comes to your money, then those other two will be maximized. Like, they really have no limit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the 80-20 rule. You heard of the 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
Where like 20% of majority of your result comes from 20% of the work, and then 80%. So those behaviors, even though they're not like on the forefront, like the math and like the skills, that behavior on the back end, that's really what's driving, those other two core principles. But it all stems from the actual behaviors and the habits that you create when it comes to your money, when it comes to saving, when it comes to investing, when it comes to, structuring your bank accounts and understanding the foundation and insurance and all that type of stuff. So as well as like the systems that you put in place to help you like automate, some of that math side and some of, how much to save and invest parts as well. So that 80% really dictates that other 20% and helps raise that bar and catapult it, to infinity and beyond.
Facts. And it's like, like wisdom is like knowledge in motion, right?
Yes.
Behavior and action, not just about knowing it or what to do if you don't actually put that in the place. But when both of them come together, then actually the knowledge, manifested and then shows up in that action. That's deep in general, right? That's a money principle, but also just like with anything is that, we talked about mentality earlier. We talked about your behaviors and what you can control. We talked a little bit about your upbringing, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that someone or something's just going to come and land on your doorstep, but like what you choose to do and the decisions that you choose are the most impactful things, regardless of what the country chooses or who's president and all that stuff. It comes down to like your behavior personally on your level.
Yes.
And that's deep. That's a money principle, but so much more. Thanks for dropping that. You talk about financial anxiety also, right? And financial anxiety is so close to our anxiety as a whole that it is it's probably the number one cause of anxiety. Because if you're financially anxious, then you're anxious about everything in life, one of my
Yeah,
mentors too, somebody I listened to, I heard him put the analogy was that like financial breathing room is critical because if like I'm presenting, just imagine I'm on a stage and it's a big stage and there's a crowd that's like say 10 feet below and they're all looking up. If I'm right up against the edge of that stage, I can't really focus on anything besides like not falling.
exactly.
So what I have presented in my mind, what I've rehearsed, and I can't really focus as much because I'm worried about like the lack of breathing room that I have. But all of a sudden, if I take 20 steps back, I can concentrate more on what I'm speaking about, more on life. I'm not as worried or as anxious about every step because I have that financial breathing room. So can you talk to us a little bit about financial breathing room and the importance of that to combat financial anxiety, and then we'll lead into some real plans that we could take a look at and break down to help with that.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So like, so number one, stress is like the number one cause of like death in the U.S. specifically, and the number one cause of stress is that, like you talked about, financial anxiety, and that's huge, right? When you think about it, that's like the number one thing on majority of people's mind. Like you said, you know, when you're so strapped financially, that's really the only thing that you can think about. You can't really see everything beyond that. And that's a scary place to be in. And that place is called like survival mode for most people, right? So, you know, what I say is for a lot of people to help combat that, what you have to do is put the odds in your favor. And what I mean by that is really taking the steps from where you are to build a foundation for yourself so that at least you have that control and awareness financially, and you can start putting the things in place to start reaching those goals, right? So it's like a difference from, being scared to look at your bank account to knowing exactly what's in your bank account and, knowing, okay, I got some money in there just in case something happens, for the small emergencies and for the small things that may pop up. I can at least take care of that. So that's like step one of getting out of that survival mode, knowing, okay, having that awareness and then setting it up to where, okay, I'm saving this amount. I'm able to put this amount to the side. Now I know, dang, I have a buffer. I got some breathing room here to really start, going into some other goals. Okay. From there, it's just about understanding the math side and understanding where you are financially. Because I put a lot of numbers out there, right? I say you should do this. You should be investing $100 a month and, saving 10% of your income, all that stuff. But you have to start from where you are. It's called personal finance for a reason. And in order to create that foundation and create that buffer and put those odds in your favor, you really got to start where you are, number one, so that you can see where you're going down the line. That's key. And that's going to help limit that financial anxiety that you have, just knowing, okay, I'm starting here. Maybe I'm not able to put $100 a month to the side or 10% to the side for saving right now, but maybe I can do 5. And then next week or next month, I can do 6%. The month after that, 7. And then seeing that progress over that time, and then having that control, number 2, is going to help take away some of that financial anxiety that we have when it comes to our money. Because a lot of us are just operating just off of just instinct, survival, and then being reactionary to things versus being proactive. I think in our culture, in our community, that's a lot of the stuff that's happening. We're being reactive to everything, and of course you're gonna be anxious. You're gonna have some anxiety when things happen. It's like, oh my God, where do I go? Like, how do I fix this? Versus having that awareness, again, just going back to that, because that's key, having that awareness and, putting things in place to say, hey, this is where I am, this is where I'm going, I'm starting here, but, eventually I can start getting to this point, and at least putting yourself in that position to where you can start being proactive and try to, prevent things from happening, or at least lessen the blow when those things come. So that way, that anxiety can be lifted. in a major way. So, that's the main thing. When you do that though, once you put yourself in that position, a lot of the money blocks that's inside your head go away. All right. A lot of those money blocks, you're no longer having to think constantly about money. You now can start thinking more about other things and be more creative and, think outside the box when it comes to certain things in your life.
A money block meaning like a block, like a something that's blocking you from going down further in that.
Yeah, just like the constant worrying about money, constant
Gotcha.
thinking about money, right? That constant thought is something that consumes majority of our thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And getting rid of that alone can free up some space for a lot of other things, opportunities, beliefs, like a whole bunch of stuff.
Relationships.
When you get rid of that stuff. Yeah, relationships, your emotions, like all that stuff.
Oh man, that's
sure.
deep. I never heard of it referred to as a money block, but that's deep breaking that down, because a money block, it's blocking you from, it's a barrier that's stopping you from going down other paths, and a lot of it is based out of money. Yeah,
exactly. Like it stops you. It literally stops you. Like it puts a cap on everything from you being able to elevate and you being able to get to that next level, because everything is like all you're thinking about is money.
Yeah,
that's all. That's the only thing that's on your mind. So if that consumes majority of everything, which it shouldn't, right? Once you get to the point where you can remove that, then you can think of your passions, things that you care about, things that you love, right? All that stuff, and progress even more, live a more happy, fulfilled life, and follow your purpose.
That's deep, man. And I gotta say too, like again, part of the theme of the show, a lot of times successful has two definitions. A lot of times we're focused on the wrong one, right? And think it's about money, to your point. And if that's how we're thinking about success, our own, and we internalize that, then that's blocking us from actually being the people, the persons that we are, right? And continuing to grow and thrive in what we've achieved and accomplished, because we have that money block. So I'm glad you broke that down, man, because that is oftentimes the root of it. And it's back to the mindset and also awareness of the right stuff, right? Because there's another definition of successful that just means like, and it's less about money, more about what you've achieved. And if you take what you've achieved, no matter how much money you have, and build off of that, and don't let that be a money block. But then also, like Vince, like you just talked about, the 80% is behavior. So it's important what you do, right? It's important what you think. It's important what you put in place. But then don't forget, even though math is 10%, it's still important too, right? Because you have to have that awareness of like 4 plus 4 is 8, right? So you need to know where you are and what you can spend. You, like you said, you might not be able to save $100, right? Because with your situation, that might not be the right math, but it has to make sense on paper. And then you put the actions in place. But then you also said, like, it's a roadmap. So you'll know what to do when you get more money. You'll know where you want it to go and how quicker it's going to propel you in that direction. And that will help inform your plan. But also when you look back, you'll see where you kind of came from and how you've built up on that. And that encouragement and motivation is empowering to, like, take the next step. When I started saving, I bought my first house when earlier on when the economy, I think it was like 2009 or something like that. But at that time, I came out of high school. I mean, I went from high school to community college. All of my friends went to 4-year college. And then I worked I'm in healthcare still. They paid for that. And then I went to 4-year college after they paid for it too. So I ended up saving some money while living at home still with my mom. And that wasn't the cool thing back then. I was watching everybody go off to college and come back, have their own apartment and all that stuff. But I was able to save. And once I start seeing the money stack, it was easy for me to forego, like easier. It wasn't easy, but it was easier to be like, nah, I'm not going to spend that money on an apartment when I'm only spending a fraction of it here. And I was able to be positioned to buy the house, which then, help continue to grow. But it was an important part the underscore, right, is the plan and the behavior. Because if you have a plan, then you feel better about your behavior, right? But if you don't have a plan, then it kind of feels like, oh, I'm missing out. You know what I mean? It puts you on the wrong path. So plan plus behavior is critical, and having that level of awareness is critical. But I really like that money block that you just described, because
all of it is like just blocks that you build to that point where you become free. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you start at, no matter where you're from, like I talk about, like it's certain levels to this. You know what I mean? You don't just go from survival mode to financial freedom like that. You know, it's blocks that you build up along the way, because it's really that freedom is, like we talk about, it's not about the money, right? You know, some people assume success has to do with the money, but it's really not. It's really about the options. Like you had, when you started seeing, okay, I'm not doing what my peers are doing, but I have more options than them. I have more choices. I can do more things. I can do this with my money. You know, I can now think, I can choose, I can decide if I do this or do that, instead of only having to go this way because of the situation that I'm in. So it's all blocks that you got to build up and get yourself to that point to not only eliminate that anxiety and get out of survival mode, but get to the point where you are free, where you have those options.
Man, that's dope. Options. So speaking of options, there's a couple of different versions of options depending on the plan, right? And depending on what someone might need. Could you speak a little bit about the different plans and systems? Like, you know, I know there's a zero-based budget, there's a cash envelope system. I kind of have a hybrid version, a little bit of both. You know, the 75-15 is swipe. You know all the methods. Can you talk to us about some of those and what makes sense?
Yeah, for sure. So like it's all going to depend on you and your situation. You want to first thing assess your own situation. Look at where you are currently and understand your values and what's important to you and how you spend money. One of the things that I do with my one-on-one clients is I do like a personal money profile. So I want to figure out, you know, what's your personality when it involves money? You know, are you a quick spender? Like, are you somebody that moves, you know, that doesn't really think too much? You just impulse buyer, you know, are you that type of person? That helps you understand who you are and your relationship with money already to figure out like which system would be best for you.
Hold on. You said to learn, what did you say? A personality, how your personality is with money?
Yeah, money personality. Yeah, you gotta know you.
I never heard of money personality, because that's different. People, you hear about personality, but your money personality might actually be different than your normal personality. That's deep. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I never heard that before.
Nah, you good, because that's key, right? That's a key part of it when it comes to money management. If you don't know that about yourself, of course it's gonna be hard. You know, what works for one person, or what you see works, or what somebody says on the internet works, may not work for you because you got a different money personality. How you deal with money is different. So like the ones that you named, you know, zero-based budget, cash envelope system, the 50-30-20 plan, swipe stripes method, value-based budget, all different personalities. Okay, so for the zero-based budget, you know, this is for somebody that, like, you know, you make good money, you just don't know where it's all going, right? So this may be for the person that, you know, makes good income, has a job, you know, does all the things, pay all their bills and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like nothing to show for it. No money saved, nothing. I don't know where all my money is going. The zero-based budget would probably be best for you. The second one with the cash envelope system. So if you love spending money, like if you have, anytime you get money in your pocket, it's gone. It's like a hole is in your pocket. Then the cash envelope system probably gonna be best for you, because that's gonna allow you to really appreciate money. Because when it comes to spending money, especially, there's like different levels to like the emotional tie or the attachment with it. And if you're in this category, then, you're somebody that just can easily just spend money. What you need to learn is how that affects you, emotionally and mentally when you spend. Because it's harder to spend cash than it is to swipe a card.
And just to break that down, when you say cash envelope system, you mean like you have the hard cash in front of you. So that
Yes.
way you're less likely to just give it up because you can actually see what you're giving up as opposed to what you're swiping.
Yes. Yes. It's harder to give away your last $20 bill or to spend your last $20 bill than it is to swipe the last 20 on your credit card. So that's going to help you appreciate, money a little bit more, and also help you save a little bit more too. If you actually stick to the plan, right, when it comes to the cash envelope system. The 50-30-20 plan, right? This is a budget allocation plan basically. So how it works is you just split up your finances in 3 categories: needs, wants, and then savings. So saving and investing. So for example, if you do a 50-30-20 plan, that's 50% goes to your needs, 30% goes towards saving and investing, and then 20% goes towards your wants. So that's how that works. This is mainly for people that have trouble sticking to a plan, and would rather, instead of like strictly budgeting and writing down every single line item, they can do this specific allocation plan for them. So what's key to know is you don't have to like specifically do 50-30-20. You can adjust these for your specific situation. Again, looking back at, where you are currently financially, your responsibilities and all that stuff, you can adjust that. So yours may not look like a 50-30-20. Yours may look like a 75-15-10, where 75% goes to needs, 15% goes to saving and investing, and 10% towards wants. So, you can adjust that. It doesn't have to be exactly 50-30-20. Obviously, the closer that you can get to that, the better, 50-30-20, but you want to adjust based on your situation. And then the swipe strikes method. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say that for last. Let's go to the value-based budget. So this is for people that don't necessarily want a budget. This is kind of like a reverse budget. So where you figure out, okay, I want to at least save and invest 20% of my income. So you automate saving and investing 20% of your income, and then you spend the remaining money on whatever, however you see fit: needs, wants, vacations, all that stuff. So this is more so just like reverse budgeting. You take care of your responsibilities first, 20% saving and investing, and then spend the rest on whatever you want to do. That's why it's called value based, because it's like I'm gonna automate my values, what's important, and then the rest is whatever. So that's out of all these, this one is the least disciplined one, per se, but at least you're saving and investing a certain percentage every single month. And then the swipe strikes method is the one that I use. Again, just like you said, you can do like a hybrid. You can use both of these kind of at the same time. But swipe strikes method is kind of like that 50-30-20 plan mixed with just using a credit card. So the benefits of this, though, is everything is in one place. So if you use a credit card for all your expenses, all of that goes on one card. So now you're super aware. Everything is in one place. I'm not spending on this debit card. I'm not using cash here. I'm not using this other credit card. I'm only using 1 or 2 cards. All my expenses go on that card. And that's that. So you can do a hybrid where that 70% of your income goes on that credit card. That's for expenses as much as you can. And then that other 30% is being automatically saved and invested. So the benefits of this, though, of this particular method, is that it's more secure. So instead of using your debit card or getting money drafted directly from your checking account, with using the bank's money, it's a little bit more secure. If there's any fraud or anything that happens, y'all know how that go. It's not, any worries. They'll send you a new card, all that stuff. The second thing is the type of card that you use needs to be like some kind of rewards card or cashback card. You know, specifically if you can get a bonus with that card, that'll be great too. But you want a card that's going to put money back or help you save a little bit on the back end as well. You know, give you points and stuff for free flights, gifts, all that stuff. Another benefit, help you save more, put towards investing. You can do whatever you want with, you know, specific cards. Cash back, you can use that cash, all that stuff. And then the last thing is, if you're really focused on building your credit, this is a great way to do that as well, because you'll be paying your normal everyday bills and expenses on these cards and then paying it off in full every month, just like you normally do, except now it's going to be tied to your credit, and then that's going to increase, and then that's going to help you with loans. That's going to help lower your interest rates, and that's going to help you get, you know, more credit and more stuff down the line for other assets and other things that you want to buy. So me personally, I love this method. Yeah. This is what I use, but this requires the most discipline because you are using a credit card. So you got to keep that in mind too. If you are disciplined, then this would be a great method for you to use as well.
Yes. And that's probably why you intentionally saved it for last, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, if you start spending and swiping and everything goes there, and then you start seeing your cash pile up, or you start spending out your cash and not paying it back, then that can undo a lot of stuff. Now you end up with debt, and on top of the interest of the credit card, on top of a growing bill. So yeah, that's probably that's what I use too. For those same reasons you touched on. Like, I can see everything in one spot. I don't have to go fishing too many different spots.
Yeah.
But then, you know, when you time it out and you pay it, going back to like the math on time, then you actually get some rewards out of it while building up your credit score at the same time. But it is dangerous because I played earlier on, like maybe 5-10 years ago. I wasn't on this side that I'm on now, where I was playing that game and I was just swiping. And you got to know, like, understanding the thresholds and all that stuff. And that's probably a good next topic to touch on. Let's talk about the credit cards, right? The hustles and hacks associated with that.
So specifically, if you're going to be using your credit card, you got to know the dates. You got to know your payment date and your statement date. Those are the two most important dates on your credit card if, you know, you're focused on wanting to build your credit, which I think everybody should be. Credit is important for all facets of your life with anything. So the first date, the payment date, that's the date when the minimum balance or the minimum payment is due. We all know this date. We all understand the payment date. That's when we pay, you know, $25, $50 just to, you know, just to get an on-time payment and not have to pay the whole bill. Now, the statement date, this is the most important date, in my opinion, because this is the date that reports to the credit bureaus, right? That reflects on your credit report. So what you want to do is make sure you pay attention to this date, because these dates are usually different. Your payment date is usually 3 to 5 business days ahead of your statement date. But you want to make sure that you pay the balance off in full before the statement date. So that number, whatever the balance is, if you pay it off, it'll be 0. Your credit utilization will also reflect 0 as well, or very low. Okay, so that's key to know. You can actually spend your entire balance if you pay it off before the statement date, and your credit utilization will reflect a 0 balance if you pay it off by that statement date.
What? That's crazy.
That's key. All right, because I know for a lot of us, that's a limiting belief. We believe we can't spend. If we spend 100% of our credit utilization on our credit card, then that's bad. It's not if you pay it off by the statement date. Okay, so that's number one. Second thing, if you absolutely cannot pay in full, the magic number is not 10%, is not 30%. You need to have that balance 3% or low. So if you absolutely can't pay it off, for example, if it's like $1,000 credit limit, then it needs to be $30 or less, right, by the statement date. So for example, if you spend $1,000 on your credit card, then you need to at least, at a bare minimum, pay down $970 so that that credit utilization will reflect 3% or less. That's like, you know, in that range where, you know, you can get away with it and it'll still increase your credit score. But me, I've been paying down my stuff to zero. My credit score has been going up. I know a lot of people think that if you pay down to zero, it doesn't reflect and the company thinks you're not using the card. But I've been paying my credit card off for years in full, and my credit score has done nothing but go up. So I don't know where that myth comes from. Maybe it's come from people that don't really do it, but I've been doing it, and my credit score has been going up consistently since then. So that's what you want to make sure that you do on the credit card side to really just boost your credit score really quickly, and you know, make sure that you pay those payments on time by the statement date, so that your credit utilization and your payment history can both reflect really good on your credit report.
Got it. Those are some bars, man.
Yes, sir.
Because the 2 dates, I wasn't really. I know the payment date.
Yeah, everybody know that date,
right? But the value of it and how to use that, right? So not only you leverage a credit card and the rewards, but you can also still use the amount that you need it for, as long as you know those dates and what it means, that if a balance lingers after the fact, would that negatively impact your score. So it's about going back to being aware, right? And your behaviors, because you're aware. So right, you're informed. Your behaviors are informed because you know now some of those dates. So that should help somebody listening right away. That's going to help me right away. So thanks for sharing that. So switching gears a little bit, talking about investment accounts, right? Mm-hmm. So I know that's part of the ratio as well, and it's good to save some money as well as to invest some money. Could you talk about some of the different types of investment accounts and like what's your preferred investment account?
Yeah, so I think for a lot of us, or a lot of working people, I think I'm gonna start there. I think the first thing, or the first accounts that we need to really take advantage of, are the 401k and the Roth IRA. So I know a lot of people think if you have a 401k, you can't have a Roth, but you can have both, because one is employer sponsored and the one is individually sponsored by you, right? So that's what the IRA stands for with the Roth individual retirement account. So you can actually have both. You want to maximize both. And how you do that is with the 401k, you want to make sure that you match. You contribute up to the match of what your company matches. So if your company matches 4% per se, you should be matching at least 4%, okay, of your salary into that account. So that'll basically be 4% of what you make each month, divided by 2, because if you get paid bi-weekly, then that'll be split up into the 401k twice a month, like that. So that's how you do that. That's how you handle that. That's the first thing. Just take advantage of that free money. Everybody loves free money. I think that's the best place to get started when it comes to investing. Now, outside of that comes the Roth IRA. The Roth, for those that don't know, is a tax-free growth account, meaning that your money goes in. This is after tax money, so the money that hits your bank account is typically already taxed if you work. If you're a W-2 employee, when that money hits your account, you then transfer that money to the Roth IRA. That money can grow tax-free for forever. That's like the benefits of this account. There's no required minimum distribution age, like with the 401k. With the 401k, by 72, you have to start taking some income from that account. With the Roth IRA, you don't have to do this. I love the Roth IRA. This is my favorite account because this is the account that you can pass down for generations to generation to generation. If you leverage it the right way, like it should be. So what you want to try to do here with the Roth is get to the point where you can max out the Roth IRA. So by maxing it out, I mean, what I mean by that is every year you can contribute in 2023 $6,500. If you're under the age of 50, over the age of 50, you can contribute $7,500. So what that looks like, maxing it out, is $540 roughly if you're under 50 per month. And then if you're over 50, about $625 per month to max that out there. So if you do that, right, you're gonna be well ahead of 99% of people financially when it comes to retirement, when it comes to investing, period. Because a lot of people don't even do that.
Facts.
So that method right there is called the match and max method. You match the 401k and then max out your Roth IRA. Very simple. Very, very simple to do, very easy. Okay, now, if your company does not match, so meaning that you're at a company, they don't match, they don't contribute, they don't give you free money, then you want to go directly to the Roth IRA and max that out. Okay, that's the very first step. So when it comes to investing, if your company doesn't match, you immediately go to these 3 accounts. You start with tax-free accounts. Then you go to tax deferred, which is like the 401k. And then you go to the taxable accounts. So these are like your taxable accounts, your individual brokerage accounts, just regular investment accounts. So that's why if your company doesn't match, you go straight to that tax-free growth account, which is like the Roth IRA. And then if you're eligible, the HSA, so the health savings account. Now, the health savings account is another tax-free growth account specifically for health savings. But what's unique about this is after the age of 65, you can take out any money completely tax-free for any reason. Before 65, it has to be specifically for health reasons. And you can use the money tax-free for any health reason before 65. So what's great is it's triple tax, it's triple leverage. It has the tax-free growth, it's tax-free for healthcare, and it's tax-free after the age of 65. You can use that money for whatever, or you can continue to keep it invested and keep it growing just like the Roth IRA. So
yeah, look, and
that's where you want to start.
And so a couple of things too. You talked about matching, right? Your job matching.
Yeah.
First off, there's so many companies matching it that, like, if you're looking for a job, look for that's an important thing to know on the back end, right? Not just what you're getting paid and what your salary is, but also what they're matching. Because that's matching just means like free money, right? So like if somebody said, hey, if you go sell or you make $20, I'll match it and give you another 20. So for everything that you actually save up to that point, they then match it, right? So that's important to start there. I actually was contributing more than what they matched until I learned more about the IRA, and then I just stopped it at the match, and then sent the rest of the money to the IRA. So that's important stuff to call out too. And I liken it to like when you first start driving, right? You immediately are looking at what's in front of you, right? So that's creating your plan. But then as you have your plan and it's working out, then your eyes start to lift up and you can focus more about what's ahead of you. And a lot of times we aren't looking at retirement, right? Because both of those accounts, all of those different versions of accounts are for future. That's not necessarily for you to benefit right now but like if you have your budget and stuff together and you're worried about less of the stuff that's immediately in front of you, then you can focus on that long-term goal, which then means all of the breathing room and everything is already in place because of you have the plan immediately. But now the future comes at you so quick that when you're looking at that stop sign that looks far down the road ends up meeting you really quick. And by the time it meets you, you already have the plans and the process and tools in place. So I think for our community too, a lot of times we aren't looking at down the road. We're like, I'll worry about it when it gets there. But it gets there so daggone fast that if we don't worry about it now, we find ourselves in a more financial anxiety and just anxiety, more anxiety total in position. So thanks for breaking those important tools down to us. I think we talked about it a little bit, but if you could just touch quickly on like not just important to put money in the IRA, but to make sure your money's doing something and not do what I did. Because I had it sitting there for like a year and a half. And I'm like, well, I put it in my IRA, but it's just staying the same dollar amount in there. What do you have to do?
Yeah, sure. Like that's important. And to like piggyback on what you just said earlier, like all of this too, before I get into like exactly the investment part, is what I think of this as is this is the foundation, and this is like a backup plan for me. You know, I'm not really banking on my future investments or my future income from my investments per se. I'm letting that be the backup plan. I'm structuring everything today financially so that that can work in the background. And then, like you said, all that anxiety is out the way. I can then focus on the things that can help me increase my income and help me do more things and help me be more creative and passionate and do the things that I enjoy. That will, you know, not only feed the backup plan, but also feed me today, present. You know, while I'm living. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a major key. I think a lot of people forget. You know, it's down the line. So it's like I'm not gonna focus on it, even though that should be like just the foundation. That should be the backup plan. You should have that. You should have $1 million saved no matter what. That's how I feel, at least. You know what I mean? So that at least in retirement you have $1 million saved up for retirement, even if you didn't get to the point where you could, you know, do that in the present or over your, you know, before retirement. So that's key. It's a backup plan. Now, as far as actually turning that money into $1 million, you have to make sure it's invested, obviously, right? Well, I'm not even gonna say obviously because a lot of people miss that point.
Right. It was obvious to me. Right.
So once you put the money in the Roth IRA, especially for the individual accounts, you got to make sure you're invested. So by that means you actually buy a stock, an ETF, an asset inside of that that retirement account. You know, there's a bunch of different ways to go. We all know, you know, the stocks, the Apples, Microsoft, Googles, Amazons, right? All good companies. And I believe everybody should be invested in, you know, some of those companies. But as far as like for beginners, the things that you can invest in, you know, that will also give you a really good return and something that you don't really have to like look at all the time or be focused on or have to do too much research on, are index funds and ETFs. So when you buy an index fund or you buy an ETF, more specifically ETFs, I think that's like the easiest thing for most people to buy. ETFs are exchange traded funds. So that just means you're buying a basket of companies all at one price on the New York Stock Exchange. That's pretty much what an exchange traded fund means. So that can be like the S&P 500, so which are like the top 500 companies in the US or some of the largest companies in the US that you get access to for, you know, one price versus buying all 500 companies individually for a large dollar amount. You can buy an ETF that has 500 of those companies for one price, right? And that's going to allow you to begin investing and building wealth over the long term so that money actually begins to grow. Now, when it comes to investing, I talk about the S&P 500 because it is one of the things that when it comes to investing is like the base. It's like the foundation. So I talk about the foundation a lot as a foundation to investing. The S&P 500 is one of those things, right? It's like the gauge of the entire stock market that you can invest in to get a really good return over the long run. So investing into the S&P 500 is very key for a lot of people. And that's where I think a lot of people should start, you know, versus trying to, you know, find the next best Apple or the next Amazon or the next up and coming company. Start with the S&P 500, keep it simple, invest there because, you know, you'll be surprised how much can turn into like a lot over that time by just investing into something as simple as the S&P 500. Now, it's not all flashy. It's not, you know, all like flashy and stuff like that, but boring really makes you money.
Right.
So,
and I think it's something like 8 to 10%, like the average return, right? So
the average return, it's been 8 to 10% over the last 30 years, which is good. Like it's really hard to find that, y'all. Something consistent that does that over, you know, a specific amount of time. So you want to make sure that money is invested. You want to make sure that it's growing. You want to make sure that you're buying the assets such as S&P 500, and that you consider that if you want to invest into that. But it's very key. It's very key that you do that instead of just sitting the money in there. Now, as far as like how much to invest, it's all going to depend on your age too, right? That's a big factor. You want to invest as long as you can, right? Because I said this in the video too. It's not, you don't invest to make money. You invest to live off the money, right? Trading. So trading is another term when it comes to like the stock market and investing. Trading is something that you do for income. Investing is something that you do for to live off of in retirement, right? Not so much like to make money. So depending on your age, if you invest in something like the S&P 500, this is how much you can invest depending on your age in order to get to that 1 million. Now I know a lot of people say, well, 1 million 30 years from now, 40 years from now is not going to be the same amount. It's still $1 million.
Right.
You still going to be better off than majority of people out here. But again, this is just about awareness. From here, you can take this information and double it, triple it, do whatever. And then obviously you won't have $1 million if you do that. You will have a lot more. So, but this is just like the bare minimum to me, which I said is that $1 million by retirement if you start early enough. So by age, this is how much you can invest. Starting at age 20, all you need to invest is $80 a month. Crazy. $80 a month for until 67, which is retirement age. That's really good. If you can do that, that's $1 million.
That's $20 a week.
Yeah, exactly. At age 30, well, 25 is $130 a month. At age 30, 215. Age 35, 360. Age 40, 625. 45, 1,050. And then at age 50, 1,900, right? This is all starting from zero. So, you start from zero, invest in these amounts per month until the age of 67. That'll help you get to that 1 million mark. Investing into something like the S&P 500, but you got to make sure it's invested and not just sitting there.
Yeah, because that money that I had sitting, if it was in the S&P 500, it would have grown over the course of those 2 years. But like you said, it's S&P is more conservative, so it's not going to be as high of a jump like if you invested individually in like an Apple or something like that. Right. It could be a combination of both. But then also it's more conservative, so to protect you too, right? So when everything fell and collapsed, if you had one of those companies and invested solely in them, you took a big hit, and the S&P is less, because it's almost like S&P is the top 500 companies. So right, the work is already done for you in order to make it in that class. And in the EFT space, the work is kind of already done for you. So you could spread out your money that is more likely to go up than it is to go backwards.
Exactly.
And that's a key principle too, to just invest in it in the right way and not necessarily worry about the next person and how much their account is exploding or not, because it could go the other way too.
Yep.
All right, cool. Thanks for breaking those down and sharing those tips. You touched earlier too and said like, it's a plan B, and it is. And I think too many times we hear like, no, I'm sticking with plan A, because plan A, if I'm create a plan B, then that just means I'm taking away from plan A. Not true, man. That's some of the worst advice that I've seen. A lot of like known celebrities say that.
Yeah,
but it's
me
like
too.
It's like people that didn't do that themselves, and now they make it a certain point, and they telling you like, no, don't make a plan B, right? Because if you have a plan B, there's comfort with it. You're less anxious when you have a plan B, right? So if you're less anxious, then you can show up for your plan A more firm and solid, right? So don't listen to those people that say don't have a plan B. This is a solid way. You'll be surprised how much more calm and how much more you can do, right? Knowing that you have that plan B and that you have your stuff in order, man. So get a plan B if you don't have one, and don't let people trick you out of creating a plan B that had probably plan A's through D's their whole life, right? So
Exactly.
So this
solid plan B too.
Yeah, facts. Real quick, what's the best advice you can give? So you gave a lot of advice, right? And maybe it's just underlining some of the advice that you already gave, but like out of everything, what is the best advice that you can give somebody?
Man, I think number one, it all boils down to the roots. Have faith in God, you know what I mean? Let God lead you. Like if you're a believer, like let God lead you, man. Ask every day, like pray for guidance, for leadership, for just to cover you and your family and protect you and show you the way. Like guide your steps. Cause if you listen, I'm telling you, and be obedient, you only gonna go the right way. And you'll be shown that each and every day. Like for me, what helped me know that I was doing the right thing, even when I wasn't, on podcasts or getting paid or all that stuff, was just getting the affirmations or the people reaching out and saying, hey, thank you for doing what you're doing. I did this. This helped me this way. Right. And then, meeting other people and, seeing how much impact I had even before all the hundreds of thousands of followers and stuff. So it's just set yourself up, financially, put the foundation in place so that you can get rid of that anxiety, get rid of that worry, get rid of those thoughts mentally when it comes to your money, so that you can really just live your truth, live your passion, like live what's best for you. Because if you do that, and of course, let God lead you and guide you, it's limitless the way that you can go, as long as you can be patient, as long as you can be diligent, as long as you can stick to the plan. Like anything literally can happen for you. And that's how I base everything when I sit down and coach my one-on-one clients. It's all based on let's get rid of that anxiety. Let's give you some buffer room. Let's do all this so that now you can really walk and you can hold your head high, see the things in front of you and reach those goals that you really want to achieve when it comes to your life. So that's the best thing, like literally that will transform you itself. Not even talking about money, but just being led and guided and trusting in your plan. That's going to get you there wherever you want to go.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So listen to God, form the relationship, right? If you don't have one, build on on where He's leading you. But then also you got to surround yourself with the right people, right?
True.
And in the right mindset. Tell us a little bit about your community, right? You have 5,000 plus people in a community. You do one-on-one coaching. Like, you're accessible. You gave us the surface. What you guys just heard is a lot of gems that could change your life now. But you also do some more, trainings. And can you talk to us about the community and more of what you offer?
Yeah. So I do have a community of 5,000 plus members. It's 5,700 now. Crazy growth, man. It's a blessing to be able to impact so many people, and for so many people to want to like be close knit. Social media is this and that, but to have like 5,000 real true people that's rocking with you, true community that want to level up and get to that next level, that's priceless, man. And it's amazing to be a part of and see the amount of growth that just from free information that I give inside this community that people are having, and the breakthroughs that people are going through when it comes to their finances. So it's key to be surrounded by people like that. That's why I wanted to create a community in the first place. But inside this community, you get access to my classes, workshops, and events that I do. Like I talked about earlier, I plan on doing some events, some live events here, traveling, going to places in New York, DC, Vegas, like all over, really, to spread the message more and, get some of the people that's rocking with me in front of me in real life, so that we can vibe that way. I feel like that would be great for the community. But you'll get access to that. That's number one. You get access to my notes. So in all my videos, I'm sure you've seen like all my notes that's inside my videos or behind the screen on the green screen. You get access to all of that. I got thousands of notes that you can literally save to your phone, put in your Google Drive, and as you're leveling up financially, you can just go through and just read and make sure that you're on track, some of that stuff. And you also get access to our Save and Invest challenges. So we have a bunch of challenges going on right now. We have a 26-week Save and Invest challenge. Members are on their way right now to save over $7,000 by July, which is good, to save or invest, right? Obviously, there's a priority list to how you want to manage your finances. If you already got the savings, then you can invest a little bit more aggressively. But that's what we're doing right now. like I said, there's a lot of breakthroughs going with that. Not only do we do that, but we have money mindset Mondays and affirmations inside of our group as well. So each member has been able to create like 10 plus affirmations so far that they repeat to themselves each and every day. It's like a total experience inside the community, and it's absolutely free for people to join too. So if you want to be a part and surround yourself with some people like that, make sure you tap in with me on my social media page. You can DM me to get access. It's absolutely free to join, or just go to my website www.imyourmoneycoach.com, and you'll be able to sign up and get access there as well. So that's the community. That's the free portion. If you want mentorship and coaching and guidance, join the community. All that is there too. So rather than have to search for that and all that, you'll be able to join the community there. But you can also go to my website for that to find any coaching or mentorship or guidance or anything that you want from a financial standpoint as well. So that's how you can get in contact with me, get my help.
That's dope, bro. And thank you for, again, putting this all together and helping us, right? Because you don't have to figure it out all by yourself, right? You got a lot of it's already figured out. Steps made easy, community around you, important to do it. One of my main takeaways that I took away, right, is that, money personality, that stood out to me, right? And that might actually tell you more and tell me more about myself and my character, right? If I'm saying I'm solid, but I'm not following through on my finances and stuff like that, then I have to look in the mirror, right? So that is another blow, a good blow that you expect from a coach that you gave. So I appreciate you, again, joining the show, man, and just stopping through and sharing all this advice, man. Look forward to you being here in person, too. We definitely catch up in person.
For sure.
But that wraps up today's episode. Do me a favor, subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Vince, appreciate you being on, bro.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Peace.
For sure.
Perfect, bro. Again, I thank you for responding and for giving me an hour and a half of your time. It was only supposed to be an hour, but the conversation got so good that I think
that's how it is.
Yeah, man, it'll be well worth it. And the people that we're trying to help too, right?
For sure.
I think that's what I always try to think about. That's what I think about, even when I'm like kind of creating a flow and breaking stuff down, is meeting that target group of people that may not have as much figured out that we have, right? But we can still identify with them because we were there.
Exactly.
Like, what do they need, and how do we best break it down or blend it down to a way that they can digest it, and without it losing its authenticity, or without it feeling like we're talking at somebody or over somebody. Like, we use figures, you used $100, right? It's perfect, or statement date, so you can identify with, as opposed to thousands or more that we could potentially talk about, but
right.
it might rub differently. So it's like that important work of making it digestible, but then still identifying with people, because we are those people.
We those people, man. We've been through it. We've been through the fire. We done seen what it's like and had to deal with it. I think that's why the content resonates so well, because I try not to go over people's heads. I try to meet everybody where they are and then bring them up with me, like, throughout the content. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, this is where you are. Let's go through this process. Let's go through this story, real quick, of how we can get from where you are to that level where you want to be in a simple, step-by-step, executable way, that makes sense to you, that you can relate to. That's the main thing. Gotta catch you where you at and bring you up. I gotta make you feel great about wanting to get this finance stuff right, because honestly, it is like boring, if you don't put it out there a certain way, if you don't articulate it a certain way, especially with what I'm doing. I'm not really investing is in my message, but it's not like the forefront. A lot of people lead with investing because investing has been big over the last couple of years, my forefront is more so like the actual budgeting and money management part and awareness and mindset. That's the part people don't want to really do. That's the part people don't really want to talk about.
Thanks.
You know, so
or feel like you're getting talked at.
Yeah.
A lot of people was like, yeah, I got all of it, and they flossing and they throwing out how much they got on you, but there's no path on like how to get it, right? So then it feels like, well, dang, I'm further behind, and then it puts people in position to try to do shortcuts that get them in. It just feels like, so when you give it to somebody and speak to them on their terms, I feel like that's an underrated thing, because a lot of times today people feel like we screaming at, I'm telling you about I'm shouting my success at you.
Exactly.
In a way that it's like, well, dang, I thought I had something going on, but I don't with what they telling me. There's a disconnect from like, nah, let me wiggle out of what they're saying. But when you have people like you with the success that's clear and visible, saying what you're saying, it's completely different.
You are already suspectable.